So hello, welcome to the Fangirl Hour. Very excited today because my guest is going to talk about dun, da, 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 or I should say doo, 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 Doctor Who, which if you've been hanging out with CafeGirl for a while, that is how this whole production company got started, with our own Doctor Who fan fiction. And my good friend, what is your name?
Do you want my real name?
Yes, your real name. Yeah, whatever you want to call yourself.
Well, Theta Eisenberg from YouTube.
Theta Eisenberg from YouTube is a fan of our Doctor Who, and we're a fan of his. So Theta, please tell us about yourself and say hi.
Hi, well, I'm obviously a 37-year-old Scot from Scotland. I've been into Doctor Who ever since, well, the Tom Baker era.
Nice.
Because my dad introduced me to like the back end of Peter Capaldi. I'm spelling my name, sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm trying to remember number 3, but I don't know.
Peter Pertwee. John Pertwee.
Yeah, there you go.
I came in about the end of his era when he was regenerating into 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, well, technically, it was me watching 4's journeys when I was younger, like, because I was born in 1984. And obviously, I wasn't born in the 70s when he took over. I'm trying to remember the timeline of all the Doctors here, sorry. And I obviously watched it, obviously, my first Doctor Who story was Robot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, well, Tom Baker's a very good actor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay. I watched all the way from like 4 to 9, and then, well, 4 to 8,
Mm-hmm.
and then 8 to 9, and then to where we are now. And obviously, everything in between they try to shoehorn in. Basically, I based my life around Doctor Who. I mean, I love it really,
Mm-hmm.
and anime, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
because I seen an animated Doctor Who thing that wasn't anywhere. It was when the Doctor visited Japan. And it was a Doctor Who anime, and it was like, oh, that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Master, the 2 versions of the Master as well. It was the very first guy that played him, the actor, traveling forward in time to meet the Tremis one
Mm-hmm.
from Logopolis, I think it's called.
What a great
I'm trying to remember all the classic stories here as well.
That's okay. So tell us about your YouTube channel. What do you do over there? I wanted you to give yourself a little promotion first.
Well, basically, I've got 2 channels. The main one I've got is obviously variety.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of everything, and like gameplays from like Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and me also showing the whole world what Scotland's like by video vlogs,
Mm-hmm.
kind of going around and filming the streets and that. And I've got very, very far with that also because, like, people from America, i.e. like you, or Australia, I don't know exactly what country you're from. My geography is bad.
Yes, yeah. We're just the other English-speaking country. We're one of the ones that well, not you, but that England took over and broke free from. Yeah. Okay, go on.
Yeah, well, it's partly that, and it's I've enjoyed getting out and about and filming around about my town and
Mm-hmm.
saying to people about Scotland that are like from like America, Australia.
Mm-hmm.
But all of you seem to really like it because someone said to me that, oh, well, you don't actually all live in castles up there in Scotland, do you? And it's like, you realise how expensive they are.
I really like it too. I think I was thinking about it the other day because you have the Randonautica that you use,
Yes.
which is that app that just kind of randomly chooses a place that you walk to. And I was thinking, if I did that, I feel like it wouldn't be as interesting looking at American stuff, but you would probably find it very interesting, whereas like me looking going, oh, that's foreign, Scotland is so beautiful. You would probably turn around and go, oh, America.
Yeah. Well, with Randonautica, what it basically is with my videos is there's a lot of people out there on YouTube that fake everything. And obviously you can't see the air quotes in the recording, obviously, but with the air quotes. It's with American stuff, nothing against you guys, but there's a lot of people that do Randonautica that are fake. And basically what that is they're like, oh my God, look what's down the road. We've not secretly put it down the road and then started filming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with my stuff, it's basically what a normal randonaut would come up against. It's like, mostly it's houses that you can't go to because that's trespassing.
Yeah.
Most of it's in the forest, which
Uh-huh.
you can get lost in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not really that scary because they tell you that it's scary, but it's all psychological. It's like Randonautica is not scary because it's the creators came on YouTube and they said that this is how our app works and this is what it is. And I was like, I don't want to know, it'll take away the magic. But it didn't. It basically says it's a I think it's an algorithm or a robot or an AI that it listens with your microphone on your phone, and apparently I think it takes your intent that you say and puts it into the machine, and it randomly goes around the whole world scanning the maps and everything, and it pops you out somewhere to go. And with the American, with you guys with your Randonautica and all that, you guys thought it was scary that an AI was watching you and listening to you, when actually it's not scary. It's how it works.
It happens. It's all happening all the time now, no matter. Yeah. Okay, so we'll make sure that in the description we share all your links for everything. So let's ask the first question. What is your fandom? How did you come to love this? Which you've already described a little, but you can go in more detail and describe any background or history of your fandom.
Well, I've got quite a few fandoms.
Well, just choose one. Just choose one for this. I would say Doctor Who, of course.
Yeah, it's obviously Doctor Who. Well, I chose Doctor Who obviously because of the first episode I've seen was looking back when I was younger, Tom Baker, Robot, the first one he did. And I thought, well, this is brilliant because it's an alien that's from a different planet. Yes, we've seen it all before, but it's an alien with two hearts that basically is trying to assimilate into day-to-day life. But the Doctor obviously can't because she is an alien. And I'm thinking, this is brilliant because it's like, what would happen actually if an alien actually was to be like the Doctor? It looks like us, but it has two hearts. And the whole concept of basically the alien being like trying to be human was fascinating to me, really.
Yeah.
And the whole concept of like regeneration really kind of like sparked the fire in me. That yes, it's sad we've gotten to know this alien and we love them, but it's so fantastical that, oh, okay, we thought we knew you, what you could do, but now you're all yellow and like fire, like, and now you're in a different man and you're a different woman, and are you still the same person? But then their mind was all boggled, and it was like they couldn't cope and everything. And how I see that is when the doctor regenerates, the brain cells go weird, as it was. Cat's talking there, sorry.
Yeah.
And basically, obviously, it was said that the doctor's mind goes everywhere at once as soon as they regenerate. And I seen that as like the doctor's form of anxiety, social awkwardness, and everything. That the doctor wouldn't know if it would okay to do this change immediately.
I've got a question. Do you think that when he or she regenerates, everything they've ever seen and every person that they've ever been kind of is all jumbled up into that process?
Yeah.
And there's also a process of saying goodbye too.
Yeah, because Jodie's doctor said when I keep spoiling it because you've not seen
Yeah, spoiler alert for other people
Yeah,
listening to this.
spoiler alert. But obviously, when 12 regenerates into 13,
Mhm.
obviously the doctor's it's like the doctor's like brilliant. It's like I'm finally a female Time Lord.
Mhm.
It's like the doctor's been waiting all
Mhm.
our life to be a female version of of the race.
And I love Jodie. I've always loved Jodie
Yeah.
since, I mean, I've seen her in so many things. She's awesome. Okay, so the other thing, I've got two more questions based on this. Who is your favorite classic Who doctor and your favorite new Who? And what do you think about how the writing has evolved? Like, are you more of a classic Who doctor or are you more of a new Who, like Doctor Who fan? And like, what do
I'm
you
more
think
of
the strengths
well,
and the weaknesses?
right.
Okay.
I'll answer the favorite one first. The classic one is obviously Tom Baker slash cricket boy, cricket boy, Peter
Okay.
Davison,
Yeah, okay.
because Peter Davison was basically technically hypothetically still around when I was born. It
Mhm,
was he was coming up to his regeneration into 6,
mhm,
but he was still technically there before he regenerated. So technically, my favorite is 4 and 5, but the ones I actually had before I was born was 5, but he
mhm,
was still there when I was born. But then, like, mainstay was the fabulous, colourful one that no one liked, but I thought was all right. Colin Baker,
mhm,
Technicolor Dreamcoat.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, I didn't mind him either.
New Who, it would have to be Tennant and Smith because they were
Yeah,
like doom doom.
yeah,
And
yeah. I think the
nowadays it's obviously 13 as well because what's not to like? I'm a full-blooded male. The doctor's female. Hello.
well, she's awesome too. I
Yeah,
liked her forever and ever and ever. So yeah, she's a great
exactly.
actress.
Now, to answer the question of like writing and how I think it's gone, we've had three writers for like New Who, RTD, Russell T Davis, Stephen Moffat, and Chris Chibnall. Each individual one has tried to put their stamp on the series.
Mhm,
Some more successful than others, but we'll get to that in a minute. RTD was basically Russell T Davis was around writing Doctor Who when I was in the part of my life where I moved out of my mum and dad's house, and
mhm.
Russell T Davis was there. He wasn't literally there in front of me. If he was, I'd be like, "Hello there, fella. Great stuff you're doing."
Hire
But
him.
he was around with the episode Tooth and Claw,
Uh-huh.
David Tennant with the werewolf thing,
Mhm, mhm,
and I watched that episode back really, really like on and on and on and on, like repeating it all over again. I was like, because it was my first time living by myself in a place that I wasn't sure about, and Tooth and Claw was there as my coping method
mhm, mhm.
because David Tennant actually spoke in his own language, Scottish.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
in that
and
episode.
then it was brilliant, and it's like everyone came in, it's like meeting all the new characters, Captain Jack. Everyone was like, it was like meeting the whole universe, and it was like opening up.
Mhm,
Friends that I could speak to, but obviously they can't speak back because we're on the TV, and that really helped me get to where I am now.
mhm,
That I can live by myself, obviously with cats, and not worry about being alone because
mhm,
well, cats are company.
mhm. Okay.
Moffat was good as well because what he did was he carried on from RTD, but he was more like of a box set kind of fella. What I mean by that is he did a storyline and he made sure that he wrapped it up and didn't leave any loose ends.
I loved Moffat. I think he's a great author.
Yeah, and I mean it's like, well, if you were to give Stephen Moffat one of the stories that 13 had, The Timeless Child, Moffat would complete it and make sure that you watching know exactly what's happening and you're okay with it.
hmm You're one of the
And
first
now,
people. Sorry, go on.
yeah, and now obviously finally getting on to the third writer of New Who, obviously Chris Chibnall. Yeah, I mean, in years to come, we'll be like, why did we let him take the reins? But the good thing, I'll say the good things that he brought in first, and then I'll list the bad things. The good things he brought in, one, obviously, female doctor, brilliant. He brought in a more diverse cast, like, what if the proper term is black people? Black people got different ethnicity cast. Although I'm not sure nowadays what you can say to describe.
Yeah, more diversity.
Yes, more diversity. He didn't bring in Bill, obviously, because Stephen Moffat brought in Bill, obviously. But that was kind of like the start of like diversity, like including everybody. And then that was fine because it was like, this is happening in the world. You can pay attention to it if you want to. But then Chris Chibnall was like all over the place with his stories and everything. But he brought in Graham, Ryan, Yaz. And that was the best three companions the Doctor's had so far, bar John Bishop's character, Dan. And I'm like, this is okay, Chris. And Timeless Child, I understand where you're going with the Timeless Child. What you try to put another spin on the Doctor's past. I could tell what he was trying to do, but spoilers, he messed it up completely because you realised that, oh, how is everyone going to understand what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to do with the Doctor? Yes, this is like, oh, this is fabulous. I'm bringing in something the Doctor doesn't know about her past, and then they brought in the fugitive Doctor as another like war doctor kind of.
Spoiler alert, but yeah,
spoiler alert. Spoilers. I'll keep saying that. I like River Song. Spoilers.
Spoilers. Yeah.
He brought in the not the war doctor, the fugitive Doctor, as I see, as a way to bridge a gap and like kind of appease us, the watching public, as if to say, I know I've brought in a lot of ideas that I can't properly pay off, but here's a brilliant actress from another show on the BBC to hopefully like help you along and like enjoy the story.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that you're one of the first persons that, like, one of the only people I know besides myself and one other friend that really liked Stephen Moffat. There are a lot of people that didn't like it, and what I think about RTD is that he had a way of finishing things up like by the end of the episode and not really explaining. Like, I still don't know how Captain Jack became the face of Bo. Like, how did that happen? It just happened.
I know.
And then Moffat went into very big detail of like every little thing, so you had to really pay attention, and then he'd connect it to the next story and the next story and the next story, and then finally you'd kind of resolve it. And so he really went into detail, and I think a lot of people just wanted to watch it and see it at surface value. And then they also complained that he was sexist, but I was like, I actually see the other way around. So,
yeah, I don't think he was.
No, I don't see. I saw the Doctor, even when it was Capaldi, like the Doctor would say something to, gosh, it was a female companion that was only there for a minute, and they said, maybe you should stay behind, and she goes, no, and she walked right in front of him. No. And I was like, you see, like, the Doctor might be sexist, but the writing is saying that the woman is going, nope, I'm going to go do it. This is my choice. I'm not going to hold back. You can't stop me.
I mean, the Doctor also said that obviously when the Doctor was in his 12th and
Capaldi,
when the Doctor was in there, I don't know exact. I'm confused what to call a Doctor now. A he or a she or they. But when the Doctor was the old Scottish one, Bill sat him down, and I think they were having chips or something, fish and chips or something, and you could tell that the Stephen Moffat was trying to show that yes, Bill likes other ladies as well, and it was like the kind of how if you were Bill yourself, how you would turn around and say to the doctor that, yes, I'm gay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a lady, I'm gay. What do you think about a doctor? But then the writing was so good with Moffat that the doctor just turns around and he's like, Time Lords are higher. Time Lords got past that
Mm-hmm.
problem millennia ago.
Yeah.
We don't care if we're man, woman, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's not the exact words that
No, I know. I remember
they said.
that. Mhm. So, okay. Well, before we go into the next question, I want to answer my thoughts.
Mhm.
I'm a Whovian all the way through. I enjoy the classic Who and the new Who. I think that a lot of my writing style falls more back to classic Who because I have a little bit of a comedic spin on everything. But my favorite doctor of the classic Who, now I want to say that I believe Tom Baker is the doctor, but
Mhm.
I personally, I always liked the seventh doctor because I just thought Sylvester McCoy was just funny.
Yeah.
And then of course my favorite new Who is 11. I just
Yes.
I really like Matt Smith. Okay, the next question is, and I also want to say that I really like how when you're watching Tooth and Claw, your story of how you were on your own, trying to figure out how to live on your own and how to grow up. And
Yeah.
Tooth and Claw really spoke to you and really helped you be okay living on your own to here you are now. That was really really powerful for me. So the next question is, what has been the best part of being a fan of this?
Connection with so many other people in the world that love the show.
Okay.
And it's actually obviously quite recently I've put up a short wee video on my YouTube channel about. I shouldn't have been so, pardon my French, pissed off about this, but I mean Facebook, like we were talking about last night, Facebook can be so toxic. I was in a not a chat thread or like a post or whatever you call it nowadays.
Group,
Yeah,
group, Facebook group.
Facebook group, and it was like they posed the question, is the first queer canon character, obviously they've forgotten about
Bill.
Bill,
Mm-hmm.
um, actually okay, and it was like, well, yes, it is okay, and I mean, I'll reiterate what I said in that video. It's I support the ship.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fan term where you ship two characters together.
Mm-hmm.
I support Thasman, hashtag Thasman, was Yaz and the Doctor because the Doctor's not got very long before she regenerates again.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just give her something to hold on to, something to love, so
Mm-hmm.
she can ease herself into the big scary event where her whole body changes again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually thinking about it, and actually I'm going to cry when 13 goes because the doctor's done so much and she's learned, she's got over her social anxiety, her social awkwardness, as far as I know from watching. And it's just sad that the doctor might forget all the progress that she's made when she changes again, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And that's quite sad. She'll change. And Yaz will probably either be there to see the change like Rose was,
Mm-hmm.
and the doctor will turn in and go, "Who are you?" And that will break my heart because Yaz loves the doctor. And then all of a sudden it's like, I've regenerated and I don't know who you are. Please get out of my TARDIS. It's like, that's quite sad, you know?
Yeah. Well, that didn't happen with Clara. Clara was the one
No.
that didn't want to. And it would be interesting if Yaz is in love with a female doctor
Mm-hmm.
which I think that's really interesting that they made that choice because throughout history, the female companion was always having some, whether it was Rose Tyler or even I think in some extent, Sarah Jane. I'm thinking of like they're always Martha. Martha had a crush on the doctor, so it's interesting to turn it on its head, and now here's a female companion that is in love with the doctor. And what does that mean to be in love with the doctor? Does it have to be a love like we think of a man and woman, or is there a sense of like a sense of looking up to the Doctor, because the Doctor is that figure, almost like a savior figure, that's going to come and save us, and they're magical and they take you on these
Yeah.
adventures. It's almost like infatuation, but it would be
Because what I think
interesting.
it is, there you
Mhm.
go. Or what I think it is basically where companions loving and like really liking the Doctor is because it's basically a human need. Obviously, love. Obviously, love is a human need, but what the Doctor probably gives the companions is like, well, ones that are interested in the Doctor in that way, gives them like not another option, like to like a man or a woman, but to love something that's bigger than actually planet Earth, if you know what I mean.
Mhm, mhm,
So loving the Doctor is loving the universe, loving Gallifrey, loving an alien.
mhm,
And yes, when we get to that in real life, the aliens come down. And if there is something like that with extraterrestrials, obviously not the Greys, I'm not being racist towards Greys,
mhm,
but it's the human aliens that come to
mhm,
Earth. It's what will be that connection between Homo sapiens and whatever the term is for the aliens in that when they come here. And it's like, I'm all for it. I mean, if they look like us, then bonus,
mhm,
because it's like they all have a weird culture and how they do things. It's just something new and exciting. It's like, oh, that's different.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's taking you on these adventures and opening your eyes. You also wonder, like when someone falls for someone initially, it's that phase of infatuation. And
Mhm.
yes, the Yaz or the companion and the Doctor are going through some difficult things and overcoming together, so the love is deepening. But if the Doctor, and I think the Rose Tyler and the Doctor kind of played at this, what it would be like if the Doctor had to settle down and just like have a house and live.
Yeah,
Would that magic still stay, or would it just dissipate? What is it about the adventure? And I think even Amy and Rory showed that too. That they were like,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
it's getting too much to just keep doing this. We want normal life." Yeah. So most memorable moment with Doctor Who, and there couldn't be more than one.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously I've said about Tooth and Claw with David Tennant, but more recently, um, it's been John Bishop's performance as Dan, because he's more of a like a me and you kind of companion, like an everyday person
Mm-hmm.
if they were to travel with the Doctor. And it was kind of nice that we've seen that because um I'll have to cut a lot off because spoilers, because I can't talk about Flux
That's
because not a lot of folk have seen it,
okay. Okay.
and you probably haven't seen it yourself.
I
But
don't think so. No.
basically, Dan is the everyday man, the everyday person. What they would do if they would go traveling with the Doctor, and that really was a good moment. That was a really nice moment for me because it was like, well, technically, that's a version of me on the screen. What I would do if the Doctor was to come along and go, "You want to come with me?"
Mm-hmm.
Literally land in my street and go, "You want to come with me and see what's going on in the world and like time and that." So Dan, I had a personal connection with Dan
Mm-hmm.
as a character because it would be what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, minus the English accent they had, obviously. It would be a Scottish accent with me.
Yeah.
Um, I will say one thing about Flux, spoilers, they do their own version of Star Wars, the Wookiees,
Yeah.
called the Lopari. Um, they're an interesting species of alien. Um, you kind of like how the Wookiees have like a life bond
Mm-hmm.
or a life debt or whatever it was with Chewbacca,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously with the recent Star Wars films, I don't know if Chewbacca still has that life debt with Han Solo because obviously we all know what happens to Han Solo in the
Mm-hmm.
new films.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's kind of like that. I mean, the Lupart, right? Spoilers if you're listening.
Yeah.
The Lupari, they're like the Wookiees. They are good aliens well, I don't know why I'm doing air quotes, but they're good aliens.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically man's best friend, a dog,
Mm-hmm.
but an anthropomorphic dog with a dog head. They've got a thing called species recall that if the human race is ever in trouble, the Lupari are sent out to wherever they need to go to save the whole species. That's what I can say without spoiling why the Lupari were there.
Yeah.
But they're like a failsafe. Say like the world was to end, if the Lupari were real, they'd like encapsulate the planet, like make a big shield around it, and get all of us off planet Earth,
Nice.
and make sure we're safe with them.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, and then obviously when the world, if Earth was to end, it would still end, but we would be with the Lupari, and they'd take us to their home planet.
And find another.
So basically, it's like they come to rescue us, take us off planet, so we're safe.
Okay, that leads me to another question. Is a couple podcasts ago, I interviewed someone that about Star Trek, and I asked him about the other two main fandom, sci-fi fandoms, Star Wars, the Trekkies, and the Whovians. What is your thinking about the other two fandoms, as far as like, I guess I'm trying to think of what I like the differences between them, the similarities. Do you have it? Are you a fan of these as well? I mean, why do you like Doctor Who maybe more than the other two? What is it about Doctor Who?
Well, Doctor Who mainly has a more personal connection, because with Star Wars, obviously, as in Star Wars, it's a war in space that is far away from our system, far, far away. Star Trek, and obviously Picard, the recent Star Trek series, it's basically us going out into the world, into the black void of space. Obviously, Jean-Luc Picard, obviously, and all the kind of captains up to, I think it's Cisco in Deep Space Nine. That's all the fantastic, like Star Wars is like look at this, woo, blang bang, flash flash, lightsabers, all the action. But with Star Trek, it's more exploration, going out there and seeing what's out there. But with Doctor Who, it's Star Wars and Star Trek. It's exploration and bang woo whiz, all that kind of fancy stuff as well.
Yeah, that's a good parallel. I like that.
Yeah.
I was thinking, a friend of mine and I were talking about these three different connections, and he's really into the three and has a lot of thoughts about them. And we were deciding, we kind of came up with this idea that Star Wars, the Doctor comes into Star Wars to help them become Star Trek, which is this peaceful flying around the galaxy, helping to promote peace. And like, it has come to that. It's like that kind of almost utopian, this is what we should all be striving for. And I haven't watched as much Star Trek as Doctor Who, but I just have in my mind, I would love to see the Doctor and the Star Trek, like the Doctor landing on the planet, on the spaceship, and then maybe he's like, oh wow, primitive, like he's being beamed up or beamed down. He's like, ooh, this is primitive or something. Like he or she, the Doctor, would find it really interesting, all these things that maybe the Star Trek spaceship would be more primitive to him. And I could almost see, my thought is that the Doctor, or like it would be fun to see like the spaceship Doctor meet the Doctor, and the Doctor thinks, I'm the Doctor, no, I'm the Doctor. And then the guy, like maybe the TARDIS is needing repair, and the guy fixes the TARDIS and he fixes the chameleon and he's like, where's the TARDIS? But there's a lot of good things you can do there. So how has this fandom helped you throughout your life? You talked a little bit about this, but you can go more into depth. And how have you grown because of this fandom?
Basically, how I've grown as part of this fandom, the Doctor Who fandom, is, how can I put it? When Tooth and Claw, the Scottish coming through there, Tooth and Claw was around when I was like moving out of my mum and dad's house and like setting up on my life on my own and all that. And basically how I see it is, it's helped me because it's like, well, if the Doctor can do it, be alone most of the time, but not be so kind of like cut off from the world, then I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I lived, obviously, I still do, but back then I lived more through the Doctor vicariously,
Mm-hmm.
because at the time the Doctor the Doctor was who I wanted to be, capable of living by herself, but also not giving a big worrying about it so much. Because if the Doctor had worried about being alone ever since she left Gallifrey, the Doctor would be a mess right now, because the Doctor would be constantly worrying about what another race thought about him or her.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
the Doctor would be worrying about what they've done in the past to other Time Lords. And the Doctor's whole family, i.e. Susan and everything like that. It's just, obviously, the Doctor has given me a mindset that not to worry about too much. What happens, happens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I want to add to that the Doctor does go back at times and make reparations for their past in one way or another,
Yeah.
and heals it, whatever that is. And the companion often helps. So, okay, so if you have any final things you want to share about Doctor Who, let's do that. And then if people have this burning desire to find out more about Theta or to contact you, how would they do that? And then let's say goodbye.
Yeah, well, you gave me too much to actually process there. Bear with me a second.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's all right. It's always because I'm dyslexic. I need it to kind of go a little bit slower.
All right, well, yeah,
But yeah,
just any final comments, and then how may people find you, and yeah.
Okay. Well, final thoughts is I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that when Russell T Davies comes back, that he can sort everything
Mm-hmm.
that makes the story believable. Like he'd pick up a book from the library and he'd actually understand the story, rather than have to go and ask someone, wait a minute, what does this mean? What does that mean? So hopefully he brings more of what he used to do back for the next Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad that he can't do it for this one,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously she's already left. Spoilers, but yeah. Because
Mm-hmm.
you know how they film,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
everything
Mm-hmm.
and then edit it to jump to the next actor.
And
Well,
then they release it before.
yeah, they've done the regeneration already, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But because they don't have the next actor to face morph in, I think what they're doing at the minute is they've started it and they showed her do the speech and the generation thing, like the energy out of here and out of the arms or the eyes or whatever they want to do. They've done that. And they've done the whole with that. You can't like obviously with the behind the scenes stuff, they show what they do to do the throw your arms back like that, or
Mm-hmm.
do the fake stuff first before you put the CGI in. They've apparently done that, but Russell T Davies is currently casting. He's currently looking for the next Doctor, and Jodie has said that there's an actress that I would like to take over, and Russell T Davies is like, I'll keep her in mind. But you probably won't know who it is because it's an actress from over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that they usually find actors that they've been working, but they're not yet well known, and then they become that. Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, it's going to just to round off my final thoughts. I really am worried about Russell T Davies because he's obviously going to have to go through everyone that he's got and that he's worked with, and all the new people coming in. So it's like he'll have to go through a lot of like auditions and see who's right for his next Doctor. And it's like thinking about the poor actors and actresses that are going into the BBC to do the auditions. They'll be sitting at home right now and they'll have the thing in front of them going, I'm going to have to go up in front of Russell T Davies and act my bum off to get the role if I want it.
Yeah.
You know?
I wonder
I mean,
what
you'd be the same yourself if Russell T Davies had seen your stuff and I actually asked the guy Nick who played the Doctor. He'd obviously ask Nick and you to come in, and you two would be like, you'd be sitting there going, uh, uh.
Yeah, I can totally see it. Oh my gosh, if our fan
Yeah,
fiction caught the high of RTD and yeah, that would be amazing.
yeah.
So how many people get a hold of you and find out more about you?
Basically, obviously, try and find my YouTube channel.
Mhm.
Obviously, Leah will kind of try her best to kind of spell it.
Yeah, and I'll make sure the links are in the description. So
Yeah. It is really kind of basically how they would find me is through you. Because obviously we kind of talk a lot. Yeah.
yeah, we'll make sure your YouTube link. That's the main thing. Is
Yeah.
people better find. I'll share your YouTube link and they should subscribe.
Yeah.
And you've got a Patreon, so they
Yes.
can, they can become a patron as well. Okay, well, it's been lovely talking to you, and
Mhm.
thank you very much. And we will talk later.